Mark Geist, how are you, sir?
I am doing good. How's Mark doing?
I'm doing great. Listen, I've been following this Benghazi matter for some time. I went and saw the movie 13 Hours. I got to tell you, you're a hell of a hero, man. You are a brave guy. All of you guys are brave men. It's unbelievable what you were facing. You think back on this, and you must say to yourself, was I going through a nightmare or something?
You know, and I know this sounds odd, but no, this is just what we do. You know, it's just like, we don't consider ourselves heroes. We're just guys that were there doing a job, and to us, that job happened to be protecting Americans in some of the most dangerous parts of the world, and that's just kind of, I think that's what we're made to do. It's that selfless service that's what we strive to do.
And you'd served in the Marines, and you served in intelligence, and you were training Iraqi SWAT teams, and you were a deputy sheriff, and you go into Benghazi, you're working at the annex, you and a couple of the other fellows, and then you see all hell breaking loose over there at the embassy. Just walk us through it briefly.
You know, and I was out in town that night working, or as I say, I was having dinner with one of the female case officers, when I got a call from Roan that the embassy to get back to the annex and stay away from the embassy. So while I made my way back, and we kind of had to take a long way just so we didn't run into any impromptu checkpoints and stay away from the consulate, and it's a consulate, not an embassy. When I get back, they had already had to leave, so I took over security at our place. You know, what those guys saw as they entered into the compound was a building that, a compound that was ablaze with fire. It was very hectic. It was chaotic.
But you kind of knew what was going on. They were under attack.
Yeah. By the time we got over there, they had already been taken over. The compound had been taken over, and the State Department diplomatic security guys had holed up as they were trained to do. And, unfortunately, they grabbed some diesel cans and started the place on fire, and that's what ultimately killed the ambassador and Sean Smith, with smoke inhalation from the fire.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question, if I may. And your nickname's Oz, and I'll tell you, you and the guy that played you in the movie, you guys look very similar. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it's actually one of the funnier things on the set, because we did get to be on set when they filmed the movie. Me and Max Martini, and he did a fabulous job playing me. Got all my quirks down. My wife said that he couldn't have done a better job. But
funny.
We actually played a prank on the director, Michael Bay. In one of the scenes they were shooting, me and him switched out spots while Michael wasn't looking, and he didn't realize that I was even in the scene until I looked directly at the camera and said a couple expletives, and that's when he realized that I was saying stuff that wasn't in the script, and he's like, "What the heck's going on?" Everybody just died laughing, and so yeah, we did a pretty good job looking alike.
Well, now I want to get to this part. How many waves? You guys fought through the night into the day. There were waves and waves of the enemy. I call them worse than that, but I won't do it in front of you. Of the enemy coming. And did you think it would ever end? Did you think you'd survive?
Yeah, because you don't get that. You don't think about anything else but surviving and making sure that you're doing your job to take care of the guy to your left and to your right. There was the first attack that took over the compound. The guys, they made it over. We made it over there. We pushed them off. There was a counter assault. They came back at our guys, and we was able to repel that. And it was at that point that the decision had to be made to get back to the annex, because there was information that we were getting that they were massing even larger forces. And so our guys got out of there. They had gotten the State Department security guys out of there, had recovered the body of Sean Smith. At this point, unable to locate the ambassador, didn't even know if he was still in the building, if he'd been taken. So the decision was made to get back to the annex. When they got back to the annex, we had 3 attacks over there, and the last one culminated with mortars that injured me pretty severely and killed Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty.
The mortars. You know, it's interesting. You watch the movie, and I have thought about this. Those mortars were pretty precise. How does that happen?
It happens by having a well-trained mortar crew. You know, because their first round, and the book's more descriptive of exactly what happened than you know, the movie took a few theatrical liberties for the purpose of time. But the first mortar hit the top of the wall along on the outside of our compound that surrounded our compound as a rocket-propelled grenade hit the back wall and small arms fire opened up.
Let me stop you there. When you saw that first mortar, did you go, holy hell, they got mortars?
At that point, I know, because I think it might have flashed through my mind, maybe just quickly, but they were shooting at me, and I knew that I had to just open up and start shooting at them. And every, you know, the next minute and 19 seconds happened. It seemed like it took forever, but all four mortars that hit within a minute and 19 seconds, and they hit within an area of 60 foot by 50 foot. So, Dan, your first question is, yeah, they had to be a highly trained mortar crew to get that done, because they had their first round. And what usually happens when you fire a mortar from a new mortar pit, from something that hasn't been set up, and you just get it set, or you haven't fired from it, that base plate sits back into the ground, kicks like a rifle. So it kicks down into the ground, and the next round's going to be a little bit shorter, and then it kicks a little, you know, every time you fire around it, it gets a little bit shorter until it compacts the ground and can't embed any further. And that's why the first mortar hit the wall, the second one hit right on the roof 15 feet to my right, and then the third and fourth hit just short of that first one, almost in a linear fashion. So my experience of 12 years in the Marine Corps in the combat arms and the intel field, that tells me exactly that it was a well-trained crew that knew exactly and had us dialed in from when they got there.
Mark, don't hang up. We got another 9 or 10 minutes, and I'm really thinking this is crucially important to have you here. Mark Geist, Oz is what he went by. Great hero, Benghazi.